Hi guys, so in this lesson we are going to be going through 3.2 converting measurements. You have been doing conversions already. The only difference here is we're going to be going in between SI and imperial units. So what you've been doing so far, for example in 3.1b, you were just converting in the metric system, so the SI system, so going from kilometers to meters or centimeters or millimeters, so just staying in there, or converting in the imperial system, so miles and yards and feet and inches, but not really going between the two. Today, the only difference is we're going to be going between the two, but our steps remain the same. So remember our metric is really nice to convert in because it's all powers of 10. So you just move the decimal basically over. Imperial was a little less fun just because you have these kind of weird numbers. You'll notice the conversions we have today are worse than that. Like at least imperial was whole numbers. Today, nothing is going to be whole numbers. It's all decimals. And that's just because there's no really nice way to convert from SI to imperial. It is all at decimal numbers. And these are approximate decimal numbers. So they're accurate to this one, 4 decimal places, 4 decimal places, 4 decimal places, same thing. This one's only accurate to 2 decimal places, only accurate to 1. Okay, so it's not that these numbers just cut off there. There is actually more. It's just weird. We don't want to have really long numbers. I think 4 decimal places is long enough. Okay. But everything else is the same. So when I'm converting from feet to meters, I can set it up exactly as I set it up before. I have 12 feet and I want to know how many meters that is. So set up my proportion. So feet and meters, feet lines up, meters lines up. And I need a conversion factor that goes from feet to meters or meters to feet. So here's one right here. So 1 meter is 3.2808 feet, or 1 foot is 0.3048 meters. Well, oh my gosh, Artie, which one do I use? It doesn't matter. If you're using a proportion, it honestly doesn't matter which one you use. I will explain this chart after we do this conversion. Now, let's just use this one. So 1 meter is 3.2808 feet. So 1 meter, 3.2808 feet. So remembering how to solve our proportion, so we would cross multiply this one, and when we cross multiply that, we end up just dividing by it. So multiply, divide. Sorry, that's really messy. And do your calculation. Sorry. And you get 3.65764, so on and so forth, and meters. So 12 feet is about 3.657 meters. Now for this assignment, and these conversions, I ask that you either round to 1 or 2 decimal places. I'm not really picky. If I don't specify how much I want you to round your final answer to, just round to 1 or 2. So let's just round this one to 1. So cutting it off after the 6, take a peek over the wall, and we will round this up to 3.7 meters. Now, we know how to use proportions, but some of you just refuse to use them for me, and you just multiply or divide however you see fit. Now, that is where this part is going to come in handy for you guys. So if I'm going from SI to imperial or imperial to SI, I'm going to use either the conversion factor here or the conversion factor here. You'll notice that they are lined up the same. So this is an inches and millimeters conversion. Here we have an inches and centimeters conversion. Here we have meters and feet conversion, and so on and so forth. So if I take a look at my units, what I am doing, I'm converting a feet, which is from our imperial system, and I'm converting that into meters, which is in the SI system. So I'm going from imperial to SI. So imperial to SI. So I will use this conversion factor down here in this column. Now, where this is handy is if you use the chart this way, you just need to multiply by that number. So I would do 12 feet times 0.3048 meters in every foot. And we get exactly 3.6576 meters. Now take a look and see that we get basically the same answer. Now, why I say basically is because this one just cuts off here in my calculator, and this one keeps going. The reason for that is because, once again, remember, these are approximate numbers. Now, why I can use two numbers that look so different is, let's just take a look at what these numbers are. So I have 1 meter equals 3.2808 feet. So 1 meter is basically 3 feet. So if I were to put feet into meters, if 1 meter is about 3 feet, then 1 foot's going to be about 1/3 of a meter, right? And that's basically what this is here. So these are the same number, they just look different. Okay, so same conversion. So that's why it doesn't matter if you're using a proportion. It doesn't matter which one you use, this number or this number. But if you are some of I just want to multiply or divide people, make sure you're multiplying by this number. Otherwise, you're going to get the incorrect answer. So if you're going from imperial to SI, you will multiply in this column. If you're going from SI to imperial, you will multiply by the number in this column. So next question, 13 meters to yards. We're going to do a proportion again. So I have 13 meters, and I want to know how many yards that is going to be. So setting up my proportion, meters and meters, yards and yards, and putting in my conversion factor. Once again, if we're using a conversion, it does not matter which side we use. You just need to pick one. So how many yards in a meter or meters in a yard? Well, here is a conversion. 1 meter is 1.0936 yards. It's the first one I've seen, and it converts meters to yards, and I'm good. So 1 meter is 1.0936 yards. So solving our proportion, solving for this one, so we'll divide by that, multiply across, and doing your calculation. Get 14.2168 yards is about 13 meters. Now, once again, just round it off after 1 or 2 decimal places. So let's just round after 1, peek over, and we will round this to 14.2 yards. Now, if we were to have used instead of setting a proportion, just using the chart as it is, if I take a look, I'm going from meters to yards. So meters is an SI unit, and I'm going to imperial. So I would do my 13 meters times, and then if I take a look at my SI to imperial for meters to yards, I would multiply it by the number that I ended up multiplying it by. So 1.0936 yards per meter, and you end up getting the same answer. Okay, next question. So 23 centimeters to feet. Now, if I take a look up here, I do not have a centimeters to feet conversion. I have a centimeters to inches conversion. I have a meters to feet conversion, meters to yards. Like, I do not have something that goes directly from centimeters to feet. So I'm going to have to do 2 steps. Now, I could go from centimeters, and I have a centimeters to inches, and that will get me into the imperial, and then I can go inches to feet. So I could do centimeters to inches to feet, using the fact that there are 12 inches in a foot, or I could do centimeters, meters, and then meters to feet, because I do have a meters to feet conversion. And let's do that one. I have your 1 meter equals 100 centimeters right here. So it doesn't matter which one you use, just lay out your game plan and go. So centimeters to meters. If I have 23 centimeters and I want to turn that into meters, well, if I wasn't sure, I could always set up a proportion. So meters, centimeters. In 1 meter, I have 100 centimeters. So if I take a look, I will be dividing 23 by 100. So when I divide 23 by 100, all I basically do is move my decimal place over 2 times. So I get 0.23 meters is 23 centimeters. that's a nice easy conversion to do. Now I need to change that meters. So doing this one. So first one we did. Now I need to change that meters into feet. So setting up my proportion. So meters, feet. Taking a look, in 1 meter, I have 3.2808 feet. So 1 meter is 3.2808 feet. Then solving my proportion, I will do 0.23 times 3.2808, and then divide by 1, which does nothing. And we get 0.754584 feet. So for this one, when we're rounding, let's round to 2 decimal places, because 0.75, that's 3/4. Nice number. So take a peek over the wall and rounding to 0.75 of a foot, or if I'm being workplacey, I could say 3/4 of a foot, but it really doesn't matter. So 0.75 of a foot. Now, you guys, if I had done centimeters to inches to feet, this is the answer I get. I'm just going to write it in a different color. So if I had done centimeters to inches and then inches to feet, I would have gotten 0.754593, so on and so forth. Now, if I take a look at this, when I round to my 2 decimal places, I get 0.75 feet, which is the same answer as I got here. But there is, if I take a look, a bit of a change once I get to this 4th decimal place. And that's just because, remember, those conversions are rounded numbers, so it's rounded to these. And this one right here, this inches to centimeters, so if I would have gone centimeters to inches or inches to feet, this is only 3 figures basically that I am multiplying to, whereas the other ones are kind of 4. Okay, so you're going to get an answer that might be a little bit less accurate. Now, don't worry too much about it, because most of the answers in your assignment, you're going to be spot on anyway, just like this one, we're 0.75 feet no matter what, if we're rounding to that 1 or 2 decimal places. But some are going to be a little off. Just don't worry about that. As long as you're close to the answer, you're okay. So for example, if I would have got 0.73 here, that's close enough. You probably are all right. Okay, if you were unsure, you could bring it up to me and we can just check your work, make sure everything was okay. All right, so example number 2. Gabby would like to replace the carpet in her living room that has the dimensions of 12 feet by 15 feet. When she went to the carpet store, she found the price of the carpet was about $25 per meter squared, including taxes. She can't order less than a full square meter of carpet. And our first question is, well, how much carpet should she actually go and order? So we have a room. We have a rectangular room that is 15 feet by 12 feet. Now, if Gabby figures out the area now, which is actually 180 feet squared if you do 15 times 12, she goes to the store, she's going to find out that, oh, well, I know I have 180 feet squared, but I need to know how many meters squared, because I need to know, well, how much carpet do I need? And they're selling it by this. So what she's going to have to do is, instead of figuring out the area first, we are going to convert first. So in area and volume questions, so in area and volume Q's, convert first, then calculate area or volume. And I will do another video explaining why. I just don't want to get into it here, otherwise this one's going to be really long. Okay, so in area and volume questions, convert first. So let's turn this 15 feet and 12 feet into meters first. So we need meters squared, so we're going to have to change that feet into meters. So 15 feet into meters and 12 feet into meters, and then we will calculate our volume, or sorry, our area. Okay, so 15 feet. For this one, instead of setting a proportion, because I didn't leave myself a lot of space here, let's just use the chart to multiply. So I am going from feet to meters. So feet is imperial and going to SI. So feet to meters is that 0.3048 number. So 15 feet times 0.3048. So right here. Same thing for your 12 feet. So times 0.3048 equals. So our 15 feet is actually 4.572 meters, and our 12 feet is 3.6576 meters. Oh man, that's bad writing. Okay. So for step 2, we are going to calculate our area now that we have our dimensions converted. So calculate area. So we'll do my length times my width. So 4.572 times 3.6576. And once that is calculated, we get 16.7225, so on and so forth. And meters squared. So not 180 feet squared, now we have it in meters squared. So now I'm not going to go to the store and order 16.7225, so on and so forth, meters squared, because I cannot order less than a full square meter of carpet. So I'm going to need to go in and order not 16 square meters of carpet, because I won't have enough, but 17 square meters. So 17 meters squared of carpet is what I will have to order. Now, how much will the carpet cost? Well, 1 square meter costs $24.99 and I have 17. So all I need to do is take my $24.99 per meter squared and multiply it by my area, so 17 meters squared. So I will be paying $424.83. Our last question has to do with applying for your license. So most people know their height in feet and inches. It's one of the most pervasive ways the imperial system has still been around in Canada. I don't really know my height in centimeters off by heart. I do know my feet and inches height though. On our Canadian licenses though, we need centimeter height. So we need to change that 5 foot 11 inches into centimeters to put it onto our license. Now remember, we don't have a feet to centimeters conversion. So what we will do, we're going to change our feet to inches, and we're going to take all of those inches and we are going to change them into centimeters from there. So first off, my 5 feet 11 inches. Now my 5 feet, if I want to find out how many inches that is, I could set up a proportion if I wasn't sure what to do. Okay, so feet and inches in 1 foot, I have 12 inches, and I clearly see here that I will multiply 5 by 12 if you couldn't figure that out just in your head. So I will do 5 by 12, and I get 60 inches. Now 5 feet is 60 inches, but I'm not just 5 feet, so I'm not just 60 inches tall. I have that extra 11 inches on there. So 60 plus 11, should be an equal sign, and equals 71 inches altogether. Now that I have it in inches, I can change my inches into centimeters using the formula, or sorry, the conversion that is on the front page of my notes. So 71 inches, and I want to know how many centimeters that is going to be. So setting up a proportion, inches and centimeters. In 1 inch, I have 2.54 centimeters. Here I see that I am going to multiply those two numbers. So 71 times 2.54. I also could have used my chart to see that I will multiply. That is the number I will multiply 71 by. Okay, so calculating that, and we get 180 180.34 centimeters. Now you won't say to the person at SGI, I am 180.34 centimeters tall. You will just say 180 centimeters. Measurements. And good luck. Have fun, you guys.